Okay, so now we're moving on to addition of decimals. Now this is pretty easy. The only thing that you need to make sure you do is to be neat and tidy. So, for example, a question like this, you need to arrange the numbers into columns. Okay, so we'll do that now. So, making sure that each number is in its appropriate place value. So, for example, now I'm going to write 3.146. I have to make sure that I don't write it over here like this, right? Because this means that this 3 is in the tenths column, but really the 3 is the units or the ones. So I can't write it like that. So I have to make sure that all of the numbers are where they should be. So I have to make sure that the 3 is in the same place value as the one above. So 1 and 3, they're in the same place value. I have to make sure that the decimal is directly underneath the decimal above, and then the rest making sure of the same thing. Okay, so this is how we want to set out our columns. Last number here is number 7, so we write down the number 7 in the units or the ones. Okay, so when we get a situation where we have gaps like the ones we have now, we can solve this problem simply by adding zeros where there's a gap. So in this case, we have to make sure we put a decimal point here. And then for the number 7, we have 3 place values. We have the tenths, the hundredths, and the thousandths. So we have to put in a 0 for each of those place values for the number 7. For the first number here, we have the tenths and the hundredths, but we don't have a number for the thousandths, so we just put in another 0 over here. Okay, so now it's just basically adding up numbers. So we'll go ahead and do that. 0 plus 6 plus 0 is 6. 5 plus 4 plus 0 is 9. 2 plus 1 plus 0 is 3. Now make sure again we put the decimal point where it should be, directly underneath the decimal point above. And now we can go ahead and add up the units or the ones. So 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 7 is 11. So your final answer should be 11.396. So that's basically how you add decimals. So again, it's pretty easy. It's just a minor extension from primary school work. So you shouldn't have any problems with this type of question. Okay, so to give you guys some practice on addition, I want you to do all of question 3 on page 220. And on page 221, I want you to do all of question 4 and 5. Okay, but before you go ahead and do these questions, I'll do one of these to help you with the other one. So for example, I'll do this one with you, and if you can do this one, you should be able to do all the others as well. Okay, so we're doing question G. I've started off by arranging all these numbers in columns, making sure that each number is in its appropriate place value, making sure that numbers are directly underneath one another, and making sure that the decimal points are directly underneath one another as well. So now I start from the right and I move over to the left. So 0 plus 8 plus 8 plus 0 is 16. So we have 2 digits in this case. So the first number of 16 is the number 1, and that goes on top of the second column from the right. So now what I do is I treat this number as being in this column, in this place value. So 1 plus 6 is 7, plus 3 is 10, plus 1 is 11, plus 0 is still 11. So we've got 2 digits again. I put the second digit down and the first digit of number 11 up on top of the next column. And again, I do the same thing. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 9 is 12, plus 7 is 19, 0, we still have 19. So I put the second digit down of 19 and the first digit up on top of the next column. So again, remember, this and that is 19, but now this number is with this column. So we do the same thing. 1 plus 0 is 1. 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 plus 7 is 17. 17 plus 2 is 19. So again, we have 2 digits. So the second number of 19 goes down, and the first number goes up on top of the next column. Making sure though, before we add these ones here, let's put in the decimal point right there, directly underneath the decimal points above, and we can do this actually before we even start adding. But in any case, that's okay. So we go ahead and add again. So 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 5 is 9, plus 8 is 17, plus 3 is 20. So the final answer you should have got is 20.9916. So again, if you can do this question, the rest should be pretty easy.